I'm Kevin Price. I'm the host of The Price of Business on Business Talk 1110 AM and also publisher and editor-in-chief of USDailyReview.com. One of the big topics, kind of the dominating news topic for the last couple of weeks, has been this ugly thing called the fiscal cliff, the thing that Barack Obama promised that the American people wouldn't go over, if you recall, in one of his debates with Mitt Romney. Well, guess what? We're careening towards it full steam ahead. Now, both sides say they're opposed to it, but in recent just the last few days, Barack Obama has said, you know what, I'm okay with going over the fiscal cliff. If that's what we have to do in order to get something done, then let's do it. Because I know this much, the rich aren't going to get away without a tax increase. And meanwhile, John Boehner is saying, you know what, this guy isn't even talking serious. He doesn't even have a startup point that anyone can cooperate with. And that's led me to wonder, what if both sides want us to go over that so-called fiscal cliff? Well, let me tell you what the fiscal cliff is, first of all. The first part of it is taxes. There's going to be huge increases in taxes in several areas. In fact, it's going to be $500 billion increase in taxes. That's the kind of tax increase you have over 6 or 7 years, all in 1 year. In fact, all in 1 month. That's not happening because of any legislative action. That's happening because of non-action, because of tax cuts that have existed for years no longer being allowed to be extended. That's where the tax part comes in. Then the spending cut part exists because of the fact that the so-called super committee, in cooperation with Congress, there was a super committee that was set up that was meant to try to avoid a fiscal cliff. They failed, obviously, miserably in their effort. The super committee, with cooperation of Congress, came up with essentially across-the-board tax cuts of budget cuts rather, that cover about 10% of the entire economy, the entire budget. These are considered huge, sweeping, arguably devastating. Now, with that, why would both sides want the fiscal cliff? Obama says he's already fine with it. Why would Boehner want it? Here's why Boehner may want it. One of the big things that Republicans pointed out in this election cycle is that you have roughly half of the American people no longer feeling the cost of government. You know, they're paying taxes, don't get me wrong. The Republican narrative that they don't pay taxes is a terrible narrative. But they pay it in a deceptive way. Whenever they buy groceries at a grocery store, they're paying the business taxes of that grocery store because businesses don't pay taxes. They're only tax collectors. Businesses, as long as they're in the black, are using customers' dollars to pay for their taxes, like they do their utilities, their employees, their building, etc. And so, don't get me wrong, they do, but they don't realize they pay those taxes. If we go over the fiscal cliff, a person making $33,000 a year will be subject to up to $3,000 in taxes. All of a sudden, they go from not paying taxes, which has been largely the case of people who have been under 6 digits for a long period of time, where virtually almost every middle-class American will have to pay taxes and at a large percentage of their income. Guess what? That's going to make them angry. That's going to make them interested in the political process like they've never been before. That alone might make John Boehner join Barack Obama in being interested in seeing this country going over the fiscal cliff. This is something to think about. I'm Kevin Price. This is the Price Point Edition.